So here I am in bed because I'm sick with the coronavirus. No, just kidding. Um, I do happen to be lying in bed, but I am alive and well, as far as I know. I know that I'm alive, and I'm pretty sure that I'm well, relatively speaking. And I wanted to talk once again because things have gotten to a point now beyond which I expected. I think I, or maybe anyone, expected things to go with not the virus itself, not the outbreak itself, but with the pervasiveness of the response to the outbreak, which um, at least borders on hysteria, I would say. What we have is just this relentless effort to make us feel frightened and feel like the world is about to end, or like there's about to be a massive outbreak and people are keeling over left and right, uh, and it doesn't accord with reality. It doesn't accord with what what even we know, based on the authorities' own statistics, what we know of this virus. Um, I was watching, and actually, I just posted this on my YouTube channel. I was watching an episode of South Park from a few years ago when SARS, I can't remember what that stands for, but I understand that it's a virus. It's a virus that originated in Asia, and I understand that it's quite similar to the coronavirus or COVID or whatever it is, whatever they're calling it now, COVID-19. And in fact, it was a virus with a much more pervasive lethality factor to it. That is to say, of those who got it, a larger number died than appears to be the case right now with uh, the current viral outbreak of corona or COVID. I'll just keep on calling it corona, just for for simplicity's purposes here. So in the South Park episode, which was you know mocking the hysteria that was coming from some quarters about SARS. SARS, it seemed like stayed relegated to Asia, but in Asian countries, people were walking around with masks, and it was a real deal. It was happening. People were people were getting sick with it. Um, but the South Park episode had SARS coming to South Park, and everybody was sick, and there was a scene in which Stan, one of the boys, is talking to his father, who's sick, and he's being all dramatic about it. And he gives him a taste of beer, and he says that that tastes that is cool on my tongue, and and then like he's talking, like he's about to go towards the light or something, and then he says, uh, "Listen, son, I have to tell you something. I have SARS. There's only a 98% possibility that I'll survive." Um, and I remembered this from the time that I saw it, and I just wanted to look it up again and watch it again and post it again. Um, the idea in the episode is that the Indians are going to get their revenge uh, for the smallpox blankets. So they take for smallpox blankets being used against them, centuries ago, to give them smallpox. So they get a bunch of Chinese people and rub them on these towels or carpets or something, and then give the carpets to the white people in South Park, Colorado. Um, and then eventually the people of South Park find out the white middle class cure for SARS, which is Campbell's soup and Sprite. You kind of have to see it, but anyway, I wanted to watch it because it puts this current madness in a certain perspective. Nobody was going crazy about SARS the way that they are right now about Corona, and yet Corona has a lower lethality rate than SARS did, and the common flu has a as far the number of people who actually die from the flu that comes about every flu season is higher than the number, higher by far than the number who have died of the coronavirus. And yet, in spite of this, we are getting just napalmed with, oh, we're closing everything down. This is serious. We're going to close this down. We're going to close this event down. We're going to close this event, that event down. No more NBA on TV. No more NHL. Baseball season indefinitely postponed. Vatican City shut down. This festival that was going to be taking place, well, it's not taking place anymore. I went to Mass this morning and found out that a Sunday Mass had been declared by the bishop to be non-mandatory. Normally, every Sunday is a holy day of obligation, in addition to various other holy days of obligation. But this Sunday, the bishop said, look, if you're not comfortable going to Mass, then you don't have to. Not only that, but they said we're gonna. They took out the holy water, the place where you dip your finger in the holy water. That's not there. They have one good thing is they've eliminated the part in the Mass where you're supposed to shake hands with the person next to you, which I always hate. I mean, I can't stand that part of the Mass. It's so stupid, it's so ridiculous. Saying peace be with you. So they eliminated that. That's a definite plus side of all of this. But they also made it so that they actually didn't hand out the basket, because I guess having the basket pass from one hand to another presented all of this. Presented some danger. And they finally are only giving out the hosts, and they're suggesting that you take. They're strongly suggesting that you take the host, that you eat it that you take it in your hand as opposed to having them place it on your tongue. No wine, no common cup for the blood. And let's see what else. I mean, the sermon made reference to it. There was something that was read out loud from the bishop, saying we should all, these are tough times, but we should all stick together and pray for one another, and blah blah blah. And then you go, so you leave church, and you thought you'd be able to get away from all of this talk at church, but nope, it's in your face there. And then you go off to wherever you're going to go. You get on the internet and you see it there. Here in Savannah, Savannah, Georgia, there's a local event on St. Patrick's Day which I'm not, again, just like the passing the peace thing in church, I'm really not a big fan of the St. Patrick's Day parade. It's a lot of drunken obnoxiousness, where all the streets get all crowded, and there's all this drunken and disorderly conduct. And, I just stay away from the downtown area on this day. But nevertheless, it's a staple. It's something that, that happens every year, and it's well known. It brings a lot of bank into the community, and they shut it down, of course, this year. So there's no parade, no St. Patrick's Day parade. And if you're even a mild sports fan, I'm not fanatical at all about sports, but I sort of like to have it as background, and occasionally I pay more attention to certain aspects of certain games. And you hear, well, no sports. NCAA tournament canceled. This can't, again, everything's getting canceled. Nobody's supposed to go anywhere. You've got to just, so far where I am, movie theaters are still open. The mall is still open. Stores are open, but they have little things like, oh, here's a place to wash your hands. All this washing your hands all the time. I mean, I can understand if you what. I kind of chuckled when I thought about this. Maybe it's kind of sadistic for me to chuckle about it, but I thought, for people out there who are already OCD, let's say, who already wash their hands like 800 times a day. I mean, God, you must be sent into a frenzy when you're being told there's germs everywhere. They're on everything. If you get these germs inside you, there's a 1% chance that you could die. There's only a 99% chance that you'll live. Of course, if you're old, or if your health is otherwise compromised, then you're more at risk. But the same goes for the flu. The same went for SARS, which again had a higher death rate, or the swine flu epidemic from a few years ago. None of those things reached this fever pitch of, just this kind of response to it all, this kind of high profile, putting it in your face at all times, shutting everything down, making it so that you should always, like I have allergies, it's allergy season. I go outside and there's pollen in the air and my eyes get itchy, but don't rub your eyes. Do not rub your eyes. You go somewhere and you're in a movie theater, or you're in church, or you're somewhere in the Walmart or whatever, and somebody coughs, and all of a sudden, and I like I said, I have allergies. I sneeze sometimes, and I just want to say that was just allergies. I'm not sick. But who knows? Because, there's a long gestation period. You might be sick, but just not have the symptoms yet. So, it's just so tiresome. I'm so done with it. And I know people are going to be angry with me. People are going to be saying that I don't see the full picture, that it really, really is a bad thing. Of course, it's a bad thing. I'm not saying there's no virus and that, it isn't out there. And so forth. But I do think, and then I'll have other people angry with me, because here's my stance on all of this. I don't know. I don't know why they've ratcheted things up so much. Why there's this hypervigilance right now. Why they're thrusting it in our face so much, to the point where we just can't ignore it, where we just feel like we're in the grip of some deadly epidemic. like you know, like Europe during the Black Plague, when something like a third of the population got wiped out, or maybe even more than that. Um, you know, they keep putting these things out there. They keep uh, trying to make us feel like we are not safe, and they keep telling us, oh, well, there's these precautions, but the precautions are just precautions. Nothing is, uh, like the priest at church was like, well, prevention is better than a cure. Okay, but I mean, it's not like the prevention is even, uh, you know, it's not like if you do these things you'll be okay. It's more like if you do these things, then you might be okay. But it really is kind of irresponsible. Like, how often should you wash your hands? Well, you should just wash your hands as often as you feel it. Well, what if my skin starts to flake off? Well, maybe that's a little too much then. But I don't want to get the virus. I mean, so I don't know exactly why they've ratcheted things up this way. Why, on the one hand, if you look at the statistics, you know, yeah, it's bad. It's a nasty uh, illness. It's not a good thing. It's something that, you know it originated in China, and who knows, maybe part of some biological weapon that got out accidentally, or maybe not accidentally. I mean, I don't have any. I'm not an epidemiologist, but in any case, you look at the statistics, and the lethality rate just ain't that high. This is not the Black Death. This is not even something like the influenza epidemic of the early 20th century that wiped out millions. This is not this is not uh, anywhere, even in the ballpark, even in the neighborhood, um, of these other things. The only difference between this epidemic and previous epidemics um, is the response. You know, there was a little bit of a scare with Ebola, I remember a few years ago, um, but nothing was canceled. No events were canceled. School, they're canceling school. They're telling kids to stay home. They're going to have online learning from home. Um, I mean, I don't know. You go to the same school with a bunch of. You're not talking about your schoolmates probably didn't travel to Italy or Iran or China. You hang out with these kids all the time. And if a kid gets sick, well, I mean, kids get sick. They get viruses. They get flus. They get, you know, strep throat. There's all kinds of nasty stuff out there that you can fall ill with. But chances are you'll be okay. Unless your health is vulnerable, in which case you're always vigilant, because that's just part of how you live as somebody who's got more fragile health. So anyway, I know people will be mad at me for saying, oh, you're not taking this seriously enough. But on the other hand, I'll have people mad at me for saying, I know exactly why they're doing this. It's because they want to impose blah 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 on us. I I would say that they're up to something. I do believe they're up to something. Not everyone. Not when I say they. I mean, I'm sure you know local health officials and you know mayors of small towns or moderate-sized towns, or school administrators here or there, or minor bishops in minor parishes that are passing along these orders or edicts. I'm not saying they're all in on it, but from the top down, from the places that are mandating these kind of extreme measures, where any event that involves people getting together in crowds just cannot exist anymore, cannot happen, needs to be at the very least postponed indefinitely, if not completely canceled. I mean, I'm not a college basketball guy. I don't really care that much about it, but I do think that, I mean, I feel bad for college seniors who are on basketball teams. This was their chance. Maybe they were on their way to, this was their last chance to maybe find some glory before they graduate, and they go and cancel the entire tournament. And this tournament's a big deal. Again, I'm not speaking as somebody who's a fan of it, of any particular team, or really all that invested in it myself, but just to take these kind of extreme measures, this is what is causing people to fear and panic, and just think that the world is ending, and that everyone they know is going to get sick, and that everyone that gets sick practically is going to die, when in fact probably people that they know won't get sick, and of the ones who do get sick, the extreme likelihood is they won't die. So maybe this is a preparation for something that's coming. Again, call me conspiracy theorist. I don't believe we're being told the truth about things generally. I don't trust the authorities to tell me the truth about things. And so, I just look at this, you just look at it rationally, calmly, and you see, again, these two things happening in tandem with one another. Number one, there is an outbreak of this disease, this virus, which is nasty, which you don't want to get because it's unpleasant, and it's no fun to get it, and you don't want to spread it to other people, and it's better to be healthy than to be sick, and all that. But it's probably not, very, 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 very probably not going to kill you, even if you do get it. So that's happening on the one hand. The other hand, in tandem with this, we've got to shut everything down. We've got to keep talking about this illness. We've got to keep putting it out there. We've got to, if you get on YouTube, there are videos about it, and they keep showing the microbe, and it looks really gross. It's like this little ball with little pustules on it, and it's like, ew, that's the germ. And it's like, look at this thing. It's going to infect you and everyone you love, unless we take all these drastic measures and take away everything that's a distraction for you, everything that's fun for you. We're going to close things down. We're going to close events down. We're going to shut down, professional sports and college sports, and all of these things that help you to unwind and relax in the midst of your stressful life. And you're just going to be left with this thing, this gross looking microbe in front of your face at all times. Is it a psyop? I think it is. I think it's some kind of psyop. I think that's, I make that conclusion based on these two things happening in tandem. If there were if the disease were something much more lethal, that had, say, a 50% death rate as opposed to a 1% death rate, you know, then you could understand civilization just shutting down, and everything changing. But that's not the case. It's not. It's relatively speaking, it's a nasty illness, and of course the fact that we don't. I don't know how I feel about vaccines, but if you believe in vaccines, they don't. There's no vaccine for it, like there is for various types of flu. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying. It's bad. Yeah, I'm not understating that it's bad, but is it as bad as they're making it out to be? Absolutely not. So something else is going on. That's my conclusion. Whether it's that they are, whether this is some kind of test run, some kind of drill, where they're using this particular health crisis to see how far they can go with it, or whether it's it's meant to be a distraction while something else is happening, like a magician's trick. He gets you to look at one hand while what he's really doing to make the magic trick happen is happening in the other hand. I don't know for certain, but I am close to 100% certain that there's something else going on. Something is afoot. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. And that's my assessment of it. Thanks for watching. Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com, Andy Nowicki, lowstatusnovelist.blogspot.com.